Hey guys! Today we are going to be talking about portraits. When we draw portraits, a lot of the time, if we haven't properly learned how to, our proportions tend to be pretty wonky. Usually eyes are up way too high, noses are too big, they just look really goofy. So for today's lesson, we are going to talk about how to correctly proportion our faces. Obviously, not everybody's face is the same proportions. The proportions I'm going to show you are what are genuinely regarded as like the typical proportions. Again, most faces probably don't actually follow those rules, but when you're drawing, that's what you want to stick to make them look realistic. We are going to talk about how to draw eyes, noses, mouths, and ears. And then we're going to talk about how to put it all together. So after I finish filming the video, in the description I will put like links to where each section starts. So if I start drawing eyes at the 2-minute mark, I'll put that down there, so that way you guys can jump around and get to whatever parts you want to learn about doing. For this, you'll just need some paper. If you have access to drawing pencils, use them. If not, don't worry about it, just use a pencil. You'll want an eraser, and if you have access to 2 tortillas, you can use those for blending. If not, remember, don't use your finger. Get a paper towel or a piece of toilet paper. Get something to put in between your finger and your paper. Yeah. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. I finally got my camera all set up and we're ready to go. Just for the record, this video may be a little bit wonky. I might drop my camera a few times, so if there are weird pauses and starts in it, that's why. I currently have my phone, so I have an ironing board sitting on top of this table, and then I have my phone on the edge of it, and I have yarn wrapped around my phone and the ironing board, keeping the phone connected to the ironing board. And then to make sure that it all stayed together, there's some tape up there, and my laptop sitting on top of the yarn for weight. So it's a very cheap setup. So if it falls, let's not be surprised. Okay, we're gonna get started, and we're gonna talk about where you put things on the face. So the proportions. I guess actually, if you were really getting ready to start drawing a face, if you had drawing pencils, you'd want to use one of your lighter pencils. I'm going to use one of my darker pencils though, just because I want you guys to be able to see what I'm doing. Now notice, I am not just like drawing like a straight line or whatever. I'm doing lots of little lines, just like we talked about when we did our different shapes. That'll also come in handy if you start working on shading while you are making these. Like all the different types of shading we talked about. That is useful stuff. Okay. So get your face shape drawn. You can always go back and fix things. Like I have this side, it's a little bit pointier than this side. So you can always easily go back, make corrections, erase away little things, and whatnot. Okay, now we're going to talk about the proportions of the face. So we have our face drawn. Next thing we want to do is we want to draw a line that goes straight down the middle of the face. If you want to, you can use a ruler or something like that, just to help make sure your lines are straight. You also might want a ruler for when we start drawing a few of these other lines, just that way you can make sure that you have them where they need to be. I'm pretty good at eyeballing it at this point, but I'll also show you how you can use your pencil to help out too. So our next place that we are going to draw a line is we are going to work on where we want to put our eyes. So the eyes are actually halfway down the face, and a lot of people don't realize this, but because of your hairline and stuff, it throws people off. So when you draw a face, the eyes go halfway down the face. Now, if you want, you can use a ruler, you can measure it, divide it in 2, and then put a line there. Or you can use your pencil. Let's see, I'm gonna guess that right around here is halfway. So I put my pencil down, and I lift it up. That was not halfway. So I'm gonna change it a little bit. Let's try right there. Not quite. So you can just use your pencil to kind of help you find your spot. So halfway, it's gonna be right about here. And make sure you draw these lines lightly. If you don't draw these lines lightly, it's gonna really suck whenever you have to go back and try to erase them later. Oops, let's switch back to my 4B. Again, I'm drawing them dark so that way you can see what I'm doing. All right, so this is where our eyes go. If you want, you can draw another line up here halfway in between the two. This is usually where your hairline would actually start. All right. Then we're also going to draw a line halfway between here and our chin. That's up a little bit too high. I'll bring it down just a little bit. I lost my good eraser, so I have to use this old mechanical pencil one. So if at any point whenever I'm erasing, if it doesn't erase super well, my bad. I lose everything. All right. So now we have this spot, we have this line, we have this line. The last line we are going to do, we're going to divide this in half now. I'm going to guess right around there. Alrighty. Okay, so now we have all of our lines drawn out. Let's move on to talk about the eyes. So the eyes go again on this middle line. When we are talking about typical face proportions, you should be able to fit 5 eyes on this line. So you should be able to have one eye in between them, have one eye there, one eye there, and they all should be like the same size. So you should be able to fit 5 of the same size eye going all the way across. Obviously, you don't need to draw those all out. I'm just trying to show you. So if you really wanted to, again, you can use your ruler. You can do some division and whatnot. But typically, 5 eyes apart, or 5 eyes across. Your eyes should be one eye apart from each other. And notice that I have the pointy parts sitting on that line. I'm going to erase away these ones so you don't get confused. There are our eyes. Next thing we're going to do is our nose. Alrighty, you might notice that my face looks different now. My camera apparently just stopped recording. Luckily, I checked on it whenever I finished this and before I started showing you how to draw everything else. If I had checked on it later and saw that it didn't do it, I don't know that I would have had a project for you tomorrow because I would have been pretty upset. Alright, so anyway, nose. It actually starts up here next to the eyes, and then the nostrils are supposed to be like as wide as where the tear ducts are. Alright, so the nose, it should touch this line right here. And again, if your face is not the same proportions as this, that's fine. All faces are different. No faces are perfect like this. Alright, then we're going to do our lips. The lips, the corners of them should go down to, or they should go out to where the middle of your eyes are. Alright, so I'm going to draw my lips. And again, notice I'm just going kind of quick. I'm not trying to make them look perfect. This is just about getting your proportions down. It really sucks if you draw like something perfectly and then you have to erase it because it's in the wrong spot. Been there, done that. It sucks. It's not fun. All right, so there's my mouth. For your ears, the top part should touch this line where your eyes are coming out of. The bottom part should touch this bottom part where your nose is coming out of. Now, me personally, I just hate drawing ears, especially my ears. I have weird small elf ears, and usually I just cover them with my hair. I find ways not to draw them because I just don't like to. All right, so now we have our eyes, our nose, our mouth, our ears. Now we can add our hairline. So for me, I'm just gonna draw something kind of like this. Then up here, because I have curly hair, I do that. I just keep adding to it until I like the way it looks. But yeah. All right. Oh, and then your neck. Your neck, it usually goes out to about where your chin starts like curving up. A lot of the time people give themselves like this crazy skinny neck and they just look like a crazy bobblehead. So now is when you go back and you erase every little line. Obviously not the lines that you drew for your face, like your lips and whatnot, but like all these guidelines. Go through, erase it. This is why you want to make sure that you draw nice and lightly. If you draw really heavy, you're going to have a bad time, my friend. And again, if you don't like the way something looks, just go back and fix it. It's totally fine. That's why you only draw the outlines. I have drawn a perfect eye and then had to erase it, and that's just no fun at all for anyone. Alrighty. So once you get all that erased, now we are ready to go through and start adding all these details. So our eyes, nose, mouth, all of it. Ears. I'm going to go through, I'm going to show you how to draw each of these things individually. And then you can go back and put them on your face and start shading it all. If you do try to do hair, it takes a while to get hair to start looking really realistic. I didn't start trying to put a lot of effort into hair until a few years ago. So just give it your best go. All right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to draw all these individual features. My video keeps it stops working. So we're going to do this again. I'm going to try to go kind of quickly so that way it all records. You're going to start off by drawing a hill, a little divot, and back up. Make sure that you draw lightly. Draw your lid. Make sure it touches this corner and it's over here. Up for the hood of your eye. Then your bottom lid line. A lot of people forget to do the bottom lid line, and then when they draw their bottom lashes, they have like lashes coming out and it just looks creepy. All right. Next, we're going to add our iris. Also, please pause this as you go, if you need to. Whenever I was in 7th grade, my art teacher said that everybody's irises are perfectly circular. And while that's probably supposed to be true, that's the day I found out mine are not. All right, next you're going to draw your pupil. My iris, like one of the sides is kind of flat. Looks like somebody took a ball of Play-Doh and like threw it on the ground. All right, your pupil, that's the black part in the middle that lets in light. A little bit of science there for you. Okay. So we have all the basics drawn. Now, if you look closely, you see these little white spots. These are reflected light. If you don't add any reflected light, your eyes look very flat and, well, they look kind of dead. So I'm going to block off a spot that I'm going to keep perfectly white. Right there. Then, I'm going to draw, whenever I start drawing eyes, I always start by just kind of drawing like squiggles like this coming out. I usually use one of my darker pencils, but I dropped it and I honestly don't know where it went. All right, I'm gonna double check and make sure the video is still recording. Cool. Okay, so you can also go in and if you look really closely, you can see that I added like, just like random little shapes almost. That helps make it look more realistic. This outside ring, also keep it a little bit darker. Usually that part stays pretty dark compared to the rest of your eye. Then you can use your tortillon, kind of blend it all to make it look like a nice, realistic eye. Your pupil, you want it to be as dark as you can possibly make it, unless it has some reflected light coming in it. That part's obviously going to stay white. Again, I dropped my drawing pencil. I don't know where it went. So this isn't going to get as dark as it should, but you're going to draw in your pupil. Make it nice and dark if you can. Then we are going to add, actually, you know what? I have more drawing pieces over here. Sorry, that's going to bother me. You know, this video is kind of a hot mess. I'm a little embarrassed by it, but also I was just not made to teach through videos not on a computer. I do much better when you guys are actually in my classroom with me. So I apologize. There we go. That looks better. All right. Now I'm going to move on. I'm going to add a little spot over here. This is where your tear duct is. It's that little red dot in your eye. Right, like that. Then I'm going to add some shading to my eye. If you look at this, you can tell that I didn't leave my eyes completely white. That makes them look really flat. Your eyes are actually a sphere. So over in the corners, it'll be kind of dark. And then as you get closer to the middle, you'll lighten up. And that'll give it an appearance that it's actually round. It looks like it's going back into your eye. Back into your eye socket. There we go. I'm going to add some eyelashes. Now when you draw eyelashes, a lot of the times people just draw like way too many, or they draw them like sticking straight out. Don't make them straight. They have a curve to them. It's like drawing a bunch of parentheses. The further out you go, the longer they look, because the ones in the middle, like, they're kind of curving more straight, and they don't look as long. Like that. I'm going to add a little bit of value to this part. Now usually this bottom lid, it's pretty like wet. It has like a lot of like teary stuff in it. So you can leave like some white spots on it as well. Kind of like that. And then you need your bottom lashes. Bottom lashes, they just kind of, just like that. Again, if you need to pause this while you're watching it, if you need to go back and rewind it, do it. I'm trying to go kind of quite quick because I want to make sure I get everything recorded. So there's how you draw an eye. Next, we're going to do noses. All right, for our nose. Noses are tricky because they really don't have like any harsh lines on them. They're more just shadows. So to do our nose, I'm going to start off, let me turn the torch. I'm going to start off by drawing a line that goes down, a line that goes down. Notice it kind of goes out just a little bit at the top. Don't make it crazy like that. It's just very smooth. Then for the nostrils, you're going to do like parentheses right here. Oops. Notice it's not touching. They're not touching each other. Then you're going to do like this little kind of wonky shape. I don't really know what to call that. But you're going to make a shape like that. Now, this is the tricky part. This is when we really just work on our shading. So I'm going to kind of go through, I'm using a darker pencil. I'm doing like little light circles to help whenever I start blending here in a second. Depending on how your light hits your face, that'll depend how you blend this. We're going to say the light straight on. So the lightest part is going to be here in the middle. So I'm going to start blending this out. Now, you see how you can see this very obvious line? That's no bueno. That is no good. No good. So I'm going to go back with my eraser. Lighten it up. So you don't want to see that. Really, with noses, it's just a lot and a lot of shading. This part's going to come out. Blending it out. Wish I had my better eraser. Make life easier. Should be a nice smooth transition to the middle. All right, I'm gonna do the same thing on this other side. Notice I move my paper around a lot whenever I'm blending. It just makes things easier for me. Work smarter, not harder. Move your paper around if you need to. If I look at this video and this doesn't record, you guys just might not watch how to make a nose today. I will just die. Okay. Now, it's alright if you have like this other gray outside, because even if you're white, your skin is going to have a gray tone to it when you are coloring it, because you're not as white as the paper. Like, you're just not. Alrighty. Gonna blend in this nosy part down here. And again, we're gonna try to get rid of these harsh lines. Blend those suckers out. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm just gonna lighten up this part just so that way you could see what it would look like against your actual like face. We'll pretend like that's your face there. Noses take a lot of practice. I think they're kind of hard to do like on their own like this. I prefer trying to make them on a face. I get kind of confused on like when to like stop blending out and stuff without my actual face there. There's our nice little highlight. Maybe add a little bit of a highlight to the tip of the nose down here. Get like a little bit of a tear duct shape. Teardrop, not tear duct. I said tear duct so much with that eyeball we just made. All right, then you're gonna add your nostrils. Nostrils are just little dark pieces right there. All right, and again, just go back and forth until it looks right. If the light's hitting you on this side, there's going to be more of a shadow on this side, and vice versa. So that is how you make a nose. Also, usually under your nose, you have this little thing. I don't remember what this is called. It's the thing right above your lips. Don't forget to add that. Usually whenever I do it, I actually don't even draw it. I just use my tortillon. There's usually like a highlight to it as well. Down the middle, on the sides. All right, up next is going to be our lips. Sorry, this video's super choppy. I hate it. I'm not proud of this, but I have to keep making sure that the camera is like actually recording, because That's the way my life is going today. Okay, now we're going to do lips. So we are going to start off. Now I just draw really feminine lips. I can't help it. That's just like my style. It's hard for me to like I really have to focus. And usually look at a picture if I'm drawing just like regular like dude lips. So sorry, my lips are going to look a little bit feminine. Alright, so you start off by drawing almost like a mustache. It's like you're starting to draw a mustache. And we're going to draw that one. And bottom lip line. Now, looking at this, I can tell this side is a lot fuller than this side. So if I wanted to, I could try to make this side fuller, or I could try to kind of deflate this side a little bit, like I'm taking out some lip injections or something. I have no clue if that's actually how that works. I think you can take out lip injections. I don't know if it would just deflate your lips or not, though. I don't know how those things work. Alrighty. There we go. So I have my lips drawn. Again, just like with our nose, lips are just a lot of shading. So I'm actually going to start off. I'm just going to give my lips a base color really quickly. So if you have a paper towel that you're using, just very lightly color in your lips and then go over it with your paper towel and give it a nice smooth blend. I find with almost everything, it's easier to work if you already have like a bit of a light color down. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to darken up this bottom part of my lip. Well, right there. And I'm going to use the tortillon to kind of blend it. Because I don't want just a dark line. I want it to kind of like think about our sphere or our cylinder or something. How we have a nice smooth blend. We don't want just like a hard line. I want to slowly like blend this up the lip. Because our lips curve. They're not just like flat little pancakes. They've got a little bit of oomph to them. Even if yours don't have much oomph, they have a little bit. So you can add a curve there. Alright. You're going to do the same thing on the bottom lip. We're going to, oops. You want to blend it down a little bit too. So the middle part should be kind of dark. I'd show you my example, but really it's pointless because you can see my teeth and you don't really get the whole effect. Plus I was wearing lipstick in that picture, so my lips are a little bit darker than what they need to be. You're just drawing regular lips. Alright. I have that drawn. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark off a spot, kind of like I did with my eye. I'm going to mark off a little highlight spot. Probably going to have one there and there. These just need to be really thin little spots where the light hits it. If it's direct on, it might be on both sides. If it's just on one side, maybe the light's hitting you on one side. I'm going to do something. Actually, I'm not going to bother with that one. I'm just going to have those two. Alright, next thing we need to do is we need to start adding some of the actual like texture to our lips. So your lips, I've read it before, I think we have like on average like 100 some different little like lines in our lips, like little wrinkles and things. So when you do this, they curve with the lip. On this side, they're going to curve this way. This side, they're going to curve that way. And up here, what we have them too, they're just not as prominent. They're a lot shorter up here. Then you're going to take your tortillon or whatever you have to blend with and kind of blend them. A lot of times I actually just go over them like this. It makes your lip a little bit darker and it blends them. Do the same thing up here. Then I'm going to take an eraser, and I'm also going to kind of erase away like where I made those lines. This helps give more volume, more texture, all that jazz. Lots of erasing, lots of shading. All right, go back over it again. Make sure I'm leaving my highlight area clean. You can always go back to and fix it a little bit. This bottom part of my lip, I'm gonna darken it up. Again, make sure you blend it. You don't want any of those harsh lines. They ruin everything. Alrighty. I'm going to take my eraser. I'm going to just clean up these little highlight areas a little bit so that way they're nice and bright. And then touch up this outside part. Your lips shouldn't really be too like smudged out of the lines that you drew. Maybe a little bit, but it shouldn't be like super messy. You should easily be able to tell where your lip starts and all that. All right, there are the lips. I'm actually not gonna do ears today. If you really want me to show you how to do ears, I will on another video. I'm kind of over my camera situation for today. So that's gonna be it. Again, we talked about the proportions of the face. So like where you put everything. Then we talked about how to go back and actually make the different parts. So your eyes, your nose, your lips. For eyebrows, I'll quickly show you eyebrows. Eyebrows, I usually start off by like lightly drawing out like the shape of the eyebrow. And then little lines. So usually in the middle of your eyebrows, they actually start like kind of sticking up. And then they kind of flatten themselves out. Now notice I'm just doing like quick flicks. Like when I touch the paper, I push down kind of hard and then I lift up. That is going to be the best way to make your eyebrows look more realistic. And obviously, fill them in. And it makes them look nice and real. Alright guys, again, I'm sorry this video was such a hot mess. In the description, or in the link, no, the description, that's the right word. In the description, I will add like the time codes for everything. So that way you can jump around to whatever you need or want to watch. On the website, I will put up a diagram that explains the different proportions and everything and all of that. Alright, I hope that you did enjoy this. And make sure you send me pictures. I want to see all your beautiful faces. Alright, I will see you guys next time.